The snake that cannot shed its skin must die. Friedrich Nietzsche. Why do some collapse under pain, while others rise from it? Why do the strongest among us seem born of agony, not comfort? And what if the pain you're avoiding is the very path to your transformation? This is not a message for the faint-hearted. This is for those who feel the fire of something greater burning inside them. Those who know that comfort is a cage and suffering is a doorway. Nietzsche believed that pain was not a punishment, it was a purifying force, a sacred resistance. He saw life not as something to endure, but as something to overcome. In this video, we will walk with Nietzsche through the fire, into the storm, up the mountain of the self. Not with pity, not with fear, but with will, with rage, with purpose. Because in Nietzsche's world, you do not rise by being protected, you rise by resisting. And every moment of suffering is an invitation, not to fall apart, but to become something no one has ever seen before. Stay with me. Let's descend into the pain, so we can rise as something more. In the world of Nietzsche, pain is not the enemy, it is the forge. It is the sacred fire where the ordinary burns away and the higher self is born. Most men run from pain. They numb it. They pray for its removal. But Nietzsche stood in front of it, eyes open, fists clenched, soul awakened. He did not beg for less pain. He demanded more strength. What does not kill me makes me stronger. This is not a slogan. It is a battle cry, a declaration of war against the softening of the soul. For Nietzsche, pain is not a punishment. It is the invitation to rise. The universe does not hand greatness to the untested. It throws them into fire and says burn, or become. The man who suffers and still walks forward is not just surviving, he is ascending. He is shedding weakness, he is learning what he's made of, he is earning his authentic self, one scar at a time. You see, in Nietzsche's philosophy, there is no progress without resistance. Every step upward is a revolt against the gravity of comfort. Pain is not the obstacle, it is the proof that you are in motion. If you feel no friction, you're not climbing, you're coasting. And what kind of life is that? A life without resistance. That is the life of the herd, of the obedient, of the unremarkable. Nietzsche rejected the herd. He spat on conformity. He believed that the Übermensch, the overman, the higher human, could only be born in those willing to confront the abyss and not look away. Pain reveals the abyss, but it also reveals something else, your will to power. That deep, invisible force within you that wants not safety, not rest, but overcoming. When your life burns down, when you're left with nothing but raw nerve and a broken heart, that is when the real you steps forward. Not the image, not the mask, not the socially accepted version of you, but the version forged in silence, in agony, in isolation, the version who does not break, but breaks through. Nietzsche never promised peace. He promised transformation, but only to those willing to bleed for it. He once wrote, "You must have chaos within you to give birth to a dancing star. That chaos is pain, that dancing star. That's who you could become, if you stop resenting your suffering and start rising through it." Pain is not proof that life is unfair. It is proof that life is calling you to become more than you are. So when life strikes you down, good. When the people you love leave, good. When the ground beneath you collapses, good. Because now the real work begins. The fire is not here to destroy you. It is here to reveal you, to strip you down, to test what you believe, and to hammer your soul into something worthy of the heights you secretly dream of. You will not rise because the world lifts you. You will rise because you resisted it. And the man who rises through pain can never be ruled by it again. Comfort is a silent killer, not of your body, but of your becoming. It does not stab you like pain, nor shake you like fear. It simply whispers, "Stay here, you're safe now." And just like that, you stop climbing. Nietzsche despised comfort, not because he was cruel, but because he understood its true nature. Comfort is the enemy of growth. It is the soft pillow that lulls the spirit to sleep, the warm bath that weakens the will, the velvet chain that keeps a man from becoming what he is meant to be. The modern man, Nietzsche would say, is overstimulated and underdeveloped. He craves applause over truth, security over strength, pleasure over purpose. He fears discomfort like it's death, never realizing that it's comfort that slowly chokes his potential. Become who you are, Nietzsche wrote. Not what the world lets you be, not what your job title says, not what your followers believe, but the raw, untamed power sleeping inside you. And to become that, you must resist ease, you must run toward friction. You must willingly walk away from what soothes you, because comfort is not peace, it is paralysis. Ask yourself, when have you ever grown during moments of comfort? When have you found your strength lying on a couch, scrolling through validation, surrounded by softness? Never. Growth happens in the stretch, in the pull, in the burn. You don't build muscle without tearing tissue. You don't build character without facing challenge. You don't build you without standing alone in the storm. Nietzsche believed that life isn't about happiness, it's about becoming powerful. Not power over others, but power over oneself. Over fear, over impulse, over the gravitational pull of the easy life. Because the easy life is a trap. It disguises itself as success. It dresses up in comfort and tells you that you've made it. But deep down, you know better. Deep down, you feel the boredom, the stagnation, the quiet ache of a soul meant for more. Comfort is not neutral. It slowly rewires your instincts. It turns fire into fatigue, curiosity into compliance, will into weakness. And the more you indulge it, the more it demands. It's not that comfort is evil. It's that it must be earned. True rest belongs to the one who has fought, who has risen, who has overcome. But to rest without rising, that's not living. That's slow death in disguise. Nietzsche challenged us to embrace the will to power, not the will to relax. The will to expand, to overcome, to create yourself anew, every day, against the friction of existence. He believed that man was not a fixed creature. You are unfinished, incomplete, a rough draft with the pen still in your hand. But if you surrender that pen to comfort, you will remain unfinished, unwritten, unremarkable, and perhaps worst of all, you'll never know who you could have been. So rise. Say no to what softens you. Say no to what numbs you. Say no to the gentle prison of a life without resistance. Because only through resistance do you rise. And only by rising do you become. Comfort kills not with pain, but with silence. It doesn't destroy, it drains. And one day, you'll look in the mirror and realize that the fire is gone, not extinguished by tragedy, but smothered by ease. Don't wait for the fire to go out. Resist now, or disappear quietly. Would you like me to continue with Keynote 3 or design the thumbnail hook next? The path upward is not crowded. It is narrow, it is steep, and most of all, it is lonely. Nietzsche knew this well. He lived it. He warned us. He who climbs upon the highest mountains laughs at all tragedies, real or imaginary. But he also knew the truth behind that laughter. It is born from endurance, not ease. It comes only after you've walked alone, when every step forward felt like rebellion against gravity, against society, and sometimes against yourself. The climb is not clean, it is brutal. You bleed, you fall, you are misunderstood, misjudged, and left behind. The world does not celebrate the one who climbs. It resents him, because his ascent reminds others that they are standing still. And so, the higher you go, the fewer voices you'll hear. Not because no one sees you, but because most cannot follow. Nietzsche wrote of the Übermensch, the overman. This higher human being does not wait to be saved, validated, or understood. He creates his own values. He shapes his own soul. And he walks alone, not out of pride, but out of necessity. Because the moment you step off the path of the herd, you step into silence. And that silence will test you. You'll doubt yourself. You'll miss the warmth of the crowd. You'll hear their laughter behind your back. The same laughter they once directed at every prophet, every creator, every revolutionary who dared to become more. But Nietzsche would tell you, do not return to the comfort of their company. Because what waits at the summit is not just peace. It is perspective. You will look down not with arrogance, but with clarity. You will see the games they play, the lies they live, and the fear they mistake for wisdom. The brutal path upward burns away illusions. It teaches you that applause is hollow, that praise is cheap, that most love you not for your strength, but for your weakness, because it makes them feel safe. But when you grow, when you rise, when you refuse to stay small, you become dangerous. You no longer need them, you no longer beg for belonging. And that kind of freedom, it terrifies people. Yet, this is where the beauty begins. Because the one who makes it through the fire is not bitter. He is transformed. He doesn't hate the world. He just sees it for what it is. He speaks fewer words, but every word carries weight. He loves more deeply, but less often. Because he now knows the price of connection. There is a sacred stillness in the one who has climbed alone, a gravity in his presence. Not because he seeks power, but because he has become power, and that is beautiful. Not in the way the world defines beauty, but in the way that only truth can be beautiful. A man who has walked through pain and come out sharper, not shattered. Softer in his heart, but unyielding in his spine. Someone who has earned his own respect. So yes, the path upward is lonely. Yes, it is brutal. But it is also the only path that leads to the self you were born to become. Nietzsche did not preach comfort. He preached ascent. Through fire, through rejection, through the crushing weight of your own doubts. And once you reach that summit, once you look down and see how far you've come, you'll understand why so few ever make the climb. Because becoming who you are requires leaving behind everything you were. And that, Nietzsche knew, is not a walk. It is a war. Not all pain transforms. Some breaks you. Some leaves you bitter, bent, and small. But Nietzsche offers us a higher law. Only the pain that is willed, embraced with purpose, can forge something greater. He does not tell us to endure passively. He calls us to choose our suffering, to own it, shape it, bend it into the tool that chisels our becoming. Because pain that is forced upon you can crush you, but pain that you accept willingly, that becomes power. Nietzsche saw suffering not as something to escape, but as a material, raw, primal, sacred. Like marble to the sculptor, like fire to the blacksmith. It is only through pressure that we carve out anything worth reverence. To will your suffering means to take the worst parts of your life. The betrayals, the rejections, the dark nights of the soul, and instead of asking why me, you ask what am I meant to become through this? This is not positive thinking. It is not naive optimism. It is the opposite. It is violent responsibility, a kind of sacred rebellion that says, I will not be destroyed by this. I will be defined by what I do with it. Nietzsche would say, if you cannot avoid pain, give it meaning. Do not let it go to waste. Do not let it sit idle like rotting fruit in the corner of your soul. Transform it. Own it so completely that it becomes your fuel. This is the path of the self-overcomer, the one who is not just shaped by life, but shapes himself against life. He doesn't run from chaos. He invites it in as a teacher, and every scar becomes a syllable in the sentence of who he is becoming. Nietzsche's idea of amor fati, the love of one's fate, is not a resignation to suffering. It is a bold embrace of it. It is saying, even my tragedies are mine, even my pain serves me, even this wound belongs to the masterpiece I am building. Most people want to be healed without being hurt. They want to grow without shedding skin. They want light without heat. But Nietzsche knew, there is no transformation without torment, no strength without strain, no rising without resistance. So when life throws you into the pit, you have a choice. You can lie there and curse the world, or you can dig your hands into the mud, Tear off what's false and rise as your own creation, because suffering is not noble by itself. Only the man who wills it, who chooses to learn from it, build with it, rise through it, only he makes it sacred. Pain can make you cruel, or it can make you conscious. It can make you small, or it can make you unstoppable. But that choice is yours, and Nietzsche leaves no space for excuses. To suffer blindly is to remain a victim. To suffer willingly is to become a creator, and that is what Nietzsche calls us to be. Not comfort seekers, not avoiders of pain, but creators of self, born through fire. So ask yourself, what if the suffering you've been running from was the very gate through which your higher self was waiting? Will you pass through it? Or will you stand at the threshold forever, blaming the pain instead of becoming the one who commands it? Because the moment you will your suffering, you are no longer its prisoner. You are its master, and masters do not suffer in vain. They transform. The world tells you to chase rewards, the applause, the title, the gold medal, the followers, the comfort. Nietzsche tells you to resist all of it, because the self you are meant to become, the higher self, the self that commands its own destiny, is not built by what the world gives you, but by what you refuse to take. The higher self is not found in reward. It is forged, violently, patiently, through resistance, through the sacred struggle with temptation, weakness, mediocrity, and the comfortable lies that society feeds you. We are not born complete. We are born capable, and that capability must be tested, not by praise, but by the choice to rise when there's nothing in it, but the becoming itself. Nietzsche never glorified success. He glorified the one who endures the void, the one who walks forward without applause, who does the hard thing without promise of reward, who resists the crowd, the comfort, the craving for validation, and creates value from within. The world rewards the obedient. It hands trophies to those who stay in line, follow scripts, fit molds. But Nietzsche's overman, the higher man, breaks the mold. He refuses the script. He lives by a standard he has written himself. And the cost of that freedom, resistance, constant excruciating resistance. Not against others, against your own lower self, because the real battle isn't outside you. It's the fight to remain unbroken by your own instincts, the laziness that tempts you, the fear that freezes you, the voice that says, just settle. Every time you resist, you sharpen your soul. Every time you say no to the easy path, a shortcut, the cheap thrill, you are building a self that cannot be bought, swayed, or shattered. But if you only move when the prize is in sight, if you only act when the outcome is guaranteed, you are not rising. You are still being led. Nietzsche taught that the strongest are those who walk through hell without the promise of heaven, who bear the weight of existence not because someone's watching, but because they demand more from themselves. You don't become great because someone handed you power. You become great because you refuse the things that made others weak. That is resistance. To resist the easy pleasures, to resist the need for approval, to resist the soft poison of comfort, to resist even your own ego when it tries to lie to you. And every act of resistance is a vote for the future version of yourself. Each time you say no to what weakens you, you are saying yes to something sacred, to the part of you that wants to ascend, not escape, to the will, not to win, but to become worthy of the war itself. Nietzsche believed that we are always in motion, either toward our higher self or away from it. There is no standing still. Every moment is an opportunity to resist decay or to give in. And when the rewards are stripped away, when no one is clapping, no one is watching, who are you then? That is the moment that matters. Because the higher self needs no prize. It is the prize. It is not what you get. It is what you earn by what you withstand. So resist. Resist until you are no longer tempted. Resist until you are no longer shaken. Resist until you become something that no reward could ever define. Because true strength is not measured by how much you gain, but by how little it takes to make you lose yourself. You were not born to be soft. You were not meant to live hidden beneath comfort, applause, or safety. You were meant to climb, to resist, and in that resistance, rise. Nietzsche never promised ease. He never spoke to the masses. He spoke to the few, the ones willing to stand alone, to suffer not for sympathy, but for strength. He believed that within you burns a fire, not the fire of fleeting passion, but the fire of becoming. And that fire is not fed by rewards, it is fed by the struggle, the solitude, the silence, the long nights when no one believes in you. But you keep moving forward. Because you do not rise by being saved, you rise by saving yourself, by resisting what weakens you, by embracing the pain that refines you, and by choosing the hard road, not because it's noble, but because it's the only road that leads to who you truly are. The herd seeks comfort. The higher man seeks challenge. And in every wound, in every rejection, in every failure, he finds not defeat, but an invitation to become. So when life strikes, welcome it. When it burns, stand in it. When you're alone, listen, because in that fire you are not dying. You are being forged. And what emerges from that fire, the one who cannot be bought, broken, or bent, that is the self the world was never ready for, but the self you were always destined to become. Resist, to rise, always,